science?
My name is Aang. I just finished my PhD from the immunology program at Harvard. And now I'm teaching at a small college in Middletown. It's in Mid-Hudson Valley, New York State.
When and why you started to practice Falun Dafa?
I started to practice in 2022 during my PhD. At that time, I struggled a lot and it was really stressful, and especially after the pandemic. And for me, it was hopeless. And then I remember the second time I watched the show Shengyun, I kept crying because the dance was beautiful and the message was so meaningful. And the dancer showed me that my suffering during my PhD training was nothing compared to the practitioner in China. And after that, I started to learn more about the practice. And I started practicing since 2022.
Some people think we just believe in science and don't believe in spiritual things and religion. How do you think about this?
If you ask me if science is valid and can answer some question, I said yes for certain answers. For certain question, it has good answers. However, in the scale of something bigger, like the universe, life, meaning of life, I think many scientists, including myself, feels uncertain. My point is, science cannot answer every question. And I think another thing that I have problem with science alone is it's very limited. For example, usually you see the thing that you look for rather than and when you truly believe in something and look for something, that is the only thing that you can see. And I think that's a limitation of science. But for faith, for spirituality, it asks you to actually sometimes to believe first before you see it. And I think for me, true spirituality or true spiritual practice like Falun Dafa is actually the highest form of science.
Do you think Falun Dafa is a higher science?
For sure. I mean, for example, I'm not a physicist, but for example, many things mentioned in Chuan Falun, the main teaching of Falun Dafa is actually higher form of science. If you talk to any theophysicist, talk about multi-dimensional universe or multiverse, they are talking about it at the theory. And it's in 1992, Master Li Hongzhi already talked about this to the public in China. And I think, yes, if you ask me, do I believe that Falun Dafa is a higher form of science? The answer is yes. But how you can sometime in order to see it, first you must believe it and practice to actually see it. I think that is the first condition of any serious spiritual practice.
Since you are a PhD in a Harvard University with such high education background, why you believe Falun Dafa so much?
I think if you use a title like a PhD from school like Harvard, and let me tell you, if there's one PhD student from Harvard believe in Falun Dafa, there's maybe 99 PhD students from Harvard don't believe in Falun Dafa. My point is we cannot use the title, the privilege, the famous reputation of the school to judge what is true and what's not true. My point is I was lucky to be able to practice Falun Dafa. And through the practice, I was able to solve a lot of the question that I never had answered before. And more important is Falun Dafa showed me what is the righteous way to live. And more important is how to improve myself. And no matter you're a PhD from Harvard, no matter if you're a taxi driver in Washington, D.C., that is more important. It's how to behave, how to look at the world, what is the meaning of life. And my education make me have a deeper, a different appreciation to Falun Dafa because I am aware that Falun Dafa is higher form of science. And for example, if you want to criticize Harvard or anything with such reputation, you can see why organ harvesting, something that so many lawyers, so many human rights, so many activists, politicians today during rally, they talk about it. This is a fact. But many scientists and famous researchers at Harvard still don't dare to acknowledge forced organ harvesting because they're afraid that the moment they get involved and raise their voice, they will be, their visa to China will be removed and they cannot keep doing research in China, which is their way of living, right? And they dare, and they're afraid of speaking it out loud. And therefore, we cannot judge people what is right or what is wrong based on the title or how famous the school are. Yeah.
How do you think about the persecution happened in China about Falun Gong?
I think it's a tragedy because if the Communist Party was wiser and if it allowed the Chinese citizens to improve morally in 1999 up to now, I think China could be a very different country. But by persecuting this group of people who devoted themselves to truthfulness, compassion, forbearance, I think that's such a pity to the people who belong to the Communist Party. And that's such a big loss to Chinese people who missed one of the most precious treasure originated from China, the cultivation practice that actually can improve human nature and improve their way of life.
Now the CCP has attempted to transnational suppress Falun Gong and the Shenyun in the US through the lawfare and the media, social media. How do you think about this?
I think, first of all, it's such a shame that the CCP can use those tactics in a country like the US. But since the day I came to the country, I come to appreciate this country more. I think there's something magical about this country, the US, that is always find the right answer in the end. And I trust in the process. I think in the end, the truth will be revealed. And one day, majorities of the people all over the world will appreciate how beautiful and how meaningful Shenyun is. But now at this moment, when things is still very cloudy and uncertain, I could say that's a test for everyone. I mean, like in any spiritual practice or even in daily life, the ability to discern between good and bad is the basic requirement to be a good person. And I think if you want to judge Shenyun is good or bad, at least like watch the show at least 2 times. Why I say 2? Because the first time I watched the show, there's a lot of things blocked my mind. But after experienced the pandemic and a lot of struggling during my PhD training, the second time when I watched Shenyun, something in my heart will unlock. And I just saw the beauty, the true beauty of Shenyun, which changed my life forever. So my point is for the US citizens, for the citizens all over the world who are being affected by the piece written by New York Times and such, I think one thing they can do for themselves is to watch the show at least once by themselves. And if after the first time they still have some hesitant, watch the second time. And I think a lot of things will be clear after they watch the show.
Do you think the CCP's transnational suppression also related to America?
For sure. I think because for me, the essence of American culture is a sense of freedom. And I think that is how this country was built 300 years ago. That is the sense of you are the owner of your own destiny, and you are free to choose the practice, the discipline, or the faith that you choose. And I think the transnational repression initiated by CCP is an insult to American value. You have an illegal police station in New York, and I think as any American, no matter you are left or right, such an action is actually an insult, the direct insult into American values. And as I said, I believe in the values of this country. I believe that those action will be revealed. And one of the things that I'm looking for is the pass for the Senate to pick up the resolution about Falun Gong Protection Act. And I think that will be the first few steps in the right direction.
There are more than 400 million Chinese people has quit the CCP and its affiliate organizations, and more than 4 million international people signed the CCP campaign petition. How do you think about this?
I think 400 is still too little, right? And I think I hope there are more. But I think a lot of people, when they look at the rally and they don't understand what does it mean by quit CCP, because Falun Gong doesn't do politics. Because from my appreciation is, because I work with other dissidents, student group on campus, Tibetans, Uyghurs, Taiwanese, and only the Falun Gong related groups actually treat Chinese people as the main victim. Other group of students usually treat Chinese as their common enemy. But Falun Gong and the movement to quit the CCP is actually for the biggest victim, the biggest number of victims in China, the citizen itself, and the 400 million people who dare to quit using their name, real name or pseudonym to quit the CCP. I think their courage is so admirable, but I hope there will be more. People will have that courage, especially with our generation, younger generation, who grow up in the lives of CCP, who never see the Falun Gong before 1999. I hope those people will actually see through the lie and then come to one day to come to appreciate Falun Gong and Shen Yun, for example.
Today we are gathering here to commemorate July 20th for 26 years. Do you have any words you want to say to the U.S. government or House, Senate, or the international community to bring more awareness to this issue to stop the persecution?
I think every year we hope this is the last year that we come to commemorate the beginning of the persecution. And I told my friends, compared to 4 years ago, the weather last 2 years was much more comfortable. It just gives me a feeling that the persecution will end soon. And I really hope so. But for the US government, in a sense, I'm an alien myself. I cannot vote in the country yet, but I have faith in this country, in the government. No matter that Democrat or Republican, I think the truth will reveal and to be known in the end. So I think that is the quality of this country. And I have no doubt that in the long term, in 50 years and 100 years back, we will have the right decision. That is to expose the CCP, to sanction the people who directly or indirectly get involved in persecution. And we will see that the persecution of Falun Gong is not only affect Falun Gong practitioner, but it's the direct violation of human rights and address the issues. It's not only a Falun Gong issues, but human rights issues, the freedom issues, and that is one of the basics of human value.
Do you have anything you want to say to the Chinese Falun Gong practitioners who are still suffering but standing for their belief?
As a new practitioner, I cannot say how much I admire the practitioner in China who risk their life to go outside every day to tell Chinese people about the persecution with the risk of being detained, being organ harvested. And first is I admire them. And I think, I don't know, I wish one day I can visit China when the CCP is over and to see all the Chinese people come to realize how precious the effort of Chinese practitioners who remain in China for the last 26 years. But we need to emphasize the work of the Chinese or other practitioners outside China too. It's like we have make the resonance because with the effort of practitioners outside China, they have their own challenge too. And they are doing a remarkable job. I use they because I'm so new. I cannot feel the courage to group myself to the effort all of you have made in the last 26 years. And yes.
Do you think what can the U.S. and the international community do to help more to call for the stop of the persecution and the transnational suppression in the U.S.?
I think the first advice I have for them is to think less about their benefit. And by remove that selfishness, I think they will be closer to the truth. A lot of people who keep silence and cannot raise voice about forced organ harvesting because their benefit is directly tied to China. New York Times with the Chinese edition for the researcher who does research in China related to China, afraid of losing visa to China, for surgeon who do research and require on the samples in China, afraid of losing offended CCP. I hope they can have the courage to put their personal gain aside just a little bit. And when that cover is removed a little bit, I believe they will see the truth at ease and they will know who's the good one right away. I think the biggest challenge is that personal profits, personal gain that prevent people from seeing the truth.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.